When Gavin and I were sitting at the courthouse to get our marriage license, he was called away by a phone call, leaving only a sentence. "We can get the license another day. There's an urgent matter," before rushing off. He left me alone in the marriage registration office, surrounded by couples, just because his childhood sweetheart had fallen down the stairs and sprained her ankle. A while later, he sent another message. "Kayla's problem is a bit serious. I have to stay with her. Let's reschedule tomorrow's wedding." I don't know how many times Gavin has chosen Kayla over me. I didn't get jealous, throw a tantrum, or eventually compromise like I used to. The staff looked at me sympathetically and asked, "Miss, do you still want to proceed?" I took out my phone and sent a text to the man who owed me a promise. "I want to proceed." I sat on the bench in the courthouse lobby looking at the reply on my phone. "Wait for me. I'll be there in 20 minutes. While I was lost in thought, my mom called. "Coral, you and Gavin got the license, right? Come to the Ocean Hotel. Our two families will have dinner together." Hearing my mom's words, my emotions were surprisingly calm. "Mom, we didn't get the license. Kayla twisted her ankle. He went to the hospital to be with her." I wasn't very sad because it had happened too many times. I was used to it. My mom exploded upon hearing this. She had been a powerful figure in the business world for years and hadn't lost her temper like this in a long time. "Reschedule. He says reschedule, and it's rescheduled. The guests invited are all distinguished family friends. Does he think everyone is playing house with him? If word of this gets out, doesn't he think about you?" She suddenly paused, remembering my persistence and compromises over the past few years. She sighed. "Coral, what do you think? Mom respects your thoughts." My calm expression finally broke upon hearing my mom's words. I hung up the phone. Over the years, I had done many foolish things for Gavin and compromised many principles for him. We met, got to know each other, and fell in love in college, spending a wonderful time together. After graduation, since both our families were local, we started discussing engagement matters. Everything went so smoothly that I once thought I was the happiest person in the world, until Kayla appeared. After the engagement, one day we agreed to see a movie. Just as we met, he was called away by a phone call. From then on, being called away by phone calls became the norm for him. He explained to me that his childhood friend had returned to the country, and he had to pick her up. Her family had gone bankrupt. Her parents died in a car accident, leaving her an orphan. She was pitiful. Her parents had been very good to him when they were alive. Her name was Kayla. Starting from that day, Gavin would frequently be called away, and the time we spent together became less and less. He liked Lego, so I spent a fortune buying a limited edition Lego set. I spent more than half a month painstakingly assembling it and eagerly presented it to him. Seeing him happy made me satisfied too, but what he liked, Kayla also liked. She asked him for it with a smile, and although he was reluctant, he gave it to her. When I found out, I was heartbroken and cried secretly. When we met again, he explained, "She's a friend. It's hard to refuse. Don't overthink it. I don't have other feelings for her. I'll assemble one for you another day." I was coaxed just like that. He was a good person, thoughtful and meticulous to everyone, polite and disciplined. About half a year after our engagement, we went hiking with friends, and Kayla was unsurprisingly among them. This wasn't the first time I saw her, but it was the first time I clearly knew her intentions. Halfway up, the two of us fell slightly behind. Kayla suddenly bumped into me, seemingly inadvertently. Both she and I fell off the steps and rolled down the mountain path. My arm hurt terribly. I couldn't lift it at all. I turned to look at Kayla with confusion and anger, but she leaned close and whispered in my ear, "Coral, if I say you pushed me, guess who Gavin will believe? Will he help you first or me?" When Gavin and a few friends rushed over hearing the noise, I saw Kayla weeping softly like a pear blossom bathed in rain. Coral. Maybe she was tired from climbing and didn't stand steady, so she accidentally bumped into me. After finishing, she glanced at me timidly. I wanted to explain and looked up at Gavin, but suddenly I felt frozen in place. He didn't believe me. He picked up Kayla and looked down at me. Coral, stop making a scene for no reason. Right. Just because I had argued with him twice about Kayla before, so when something happened, it was all my fault. Making a scene for no reason? I didn't expect this cliché to be used on me. That day, I watched him walk away holding Kayla. The friends were also a bit at a loss, offering comforting words all at once. Coral, we believe you're not that kind of person. Yeah, don't be angry. Gavin just saw Kayla's scrape was serious. Her hand was bleeding. I shook my head. You guys keep climbing. I'll go down first. A friend offered to accompany me down. I refused. There was no need to spoil everyone's fun. No one saw that my shoulder was dislocated and my arm was bloody. I endured the pain and went down the mountain. While waiting for the ambulance, my strength failed and I gradually fainted. The second before I closed my eyes, I heard a slightly panicked voice. Coral! Coral! I looked up. The voice in my memory merged with the voice in my ear now. I looked blankly at the person who had arrived. Lucas, the helm of the Sterling Group. His parents died early, but at a young age, he not only protected his parents' business, but also led the Sterling Group to new heights. He was at the very top of the pyramid in their circle of the wealthy. Our acquaintance was an accident. After graduating from high school, I went to visit my grandmother. There, I accidentally saved him once and kept him company while he recovered. Before leaving, he gave me a contact method and promised to grant me one request unconditionally within his ability in the future. After that, the two families interacted occasionally, and they met often, gradually becoming familiar. When did we drift apart? It seems that since I confessed to my family about being with Gavin, I hadn't seen him for 2 or 3 years. When I sent him the message, I was actually apprehensive. After all, that man's temperament was unpredictable and lofty. But looking around the entire circle, he was the only one I could think of. The Song family had considerable influence. Besides him, no one else would dare to marry me at this time. I didn't know if he had changed his contact information. I didn't know if he still remembered that promise. So now, looking at this cold and handsome man in front of me, wearing a custom formal suit, looking like he had rushed over from a business occasion, my eyes turned slightly red and my vision gradually blurred with steam. I seemed to hear Lucas sigh, reaching out to gently wipe the tear from my eyelash. Why are you crying? Didn't you ask me to come get the marriage license? Regret it? I shook my head and pulled him into the registration office. Amid the staff's surprise, we handed over our documents, and it was done in less than 20 minutes. Getting a marriage license was so quick, but for these less than 20 minutes, Gavin wasn't willing to wait with me. Or perhaps he wasn't willing to let his little childhood sweetheart wait. Standing at the door of my house, I looked at the marriage certificate in my hand. I took a deep breath. Just now, after leaving the courthouse, Lucas left in a hurry. It seemed he was attending an important government bidding and couldn't be absent, so he had to rush back now. Before leaving, he looked at me, his eyes deep. Rest assured, tomorrow's wedding remains unchanged. I nodded. When I sent him the message, I had explained the causes and consequences clearly, as I held my phone preparing to call the driver. A call came in just then. It was Gavin. I pressed answer, and his usual gentle voice came through. Coral, I'm sorry. I thought he was apologizing for leaving me at the courthouse and canceling the wedding. Just as I was about to answer, Kayla's delicate voice followed. Coral, I'm sorry. I accidentally ruined your wedding dress. I'm really sorry, Coral. Sob. Followed by Gavin's soft coaxing. It's okay, don't cry. Coral isn't that petty. Then he spoke to me again. Coral, anyway, tomorrow's wedding is canceled. Another day, I'll accompany you to choose a better wedding dress. I didn't want to talk anymore. My heart was tired and powerless. I didn't ask why the two of them weren't at the hospital, but in the new house where her wedding dress was kept. I didn't ask if Gavin had forgotten that the wedding dress was designed by us, together in college, and had extraordinary significance. I didn't ask anything anymore. It was meaningless. I was already married, wasn't I? I don't deny that the days with Gavin were happy, and in college, even blissful. I also don't deny Gavin's sincerity towards me. Eyes don't lie. But that sincerity wasn't given to me alone. Since Kayla appeared, I was no longer his preference. I still remember a gathering. Because I wasn't good at drinking, I felt a bit tipsy after a few glasses and went to the restroom. When I came back, I heard that drunken sentence. Gavin, I won't marry anyone but you in this life. As soon as this was said, the private room went silent for a moment. Everyone knew Gavin was already engaged. A friend changed the subject jokingly. I stood at the door, holding my breath, waiting for Gavin's answer. The result was a gentle instruction. I'll go ask for a bowl of hangover soup. Kayla will have a headache later. You guys take care of her. I couldn't describe what I felt at that moment. Disappointment or something else, it didn't matter anymore. I grew up pampered too. The greatest heartbreak and grievance in this life were given by Gavin. Compromising and giving in for so long, thinking about it now, I was obsessed. If it's not a liking given solely to me, if it's not a uniquely preferred liking, I don't want it anymore. It doesn't matter. Since it's ruined, then don't keep it. Throw it away. Hearing my tone flat and emotionless, Gavin was stunned instead. No jealousy, no tantrums, no imagined arguments. Clearly, he should be relieved. But for some reason, a wave of panic surged in Gavin's heart. Anything else? I didn't want to continue the meaningless conversation and asked. Gavin opened his mouth, then fell silent. Nothing else. Just as I was about to hang up, Kayla's voice came faintly. Gavin, look, is it okay if I pack these clothes for you? I hung up expressionlessly. Hearing the disconnect tone, Gavin hurriedly looked at his phone. Seeing the ended call interface, he felt uneasy. He looked up at Kayla with displeasure in his eyes. You don't need to pack my clothes. I'll take you there. Once you're settled, I'll come back. Kayla's eyes instantly filled with tears. Gavin, I only have you. Are you going to abandon me too and ignore me? Gavin's eyes softened. I won't ignore you. But Kayla, you have to learn to be independent. After taking you there, I have to get married too. If your injury wasn't urgent, I would have married your sister-in-law tomorrow. A trace of sadness flashed through Kayla's eyes, then turned into determination. Looking at the Maybach stopping in front of me, I moved aside in confusion. The car stopped. A man around 40 got out and walked up to me. He smiled kindly. Is this Miss Ning? I nodded. You are? It turned out to be the driver Lucas sent to take me home. I couldn't help but smile knowingly. Maybe this marriage wasn't bad. Returning home, I was greeted by my mother's scolding for my lack of backbone, seeing my mother getting more and more worked up. I quickly took out the still warm little red book, successfully suppressing my mom's anger. My dad sitting by the piano gave me a thumbs up. I tilted my head up proudly. My mom muttered, "Didn't you say the song Family Kid left?" My mom's eyes widened. She looked at the marriage certificate, then at me, then at my dad. This. Seeing my decisive mom like this, my dad also walked over. After seeing the name and photo on the marriage certificate clearly, he looked at me with the same expression as my mom. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I calmly walked to the sofa and sat down, asking the maid to pour me a glass of lemon water. My mom and dad sat beside me and asked carefully, "Baby, this is..." I nodded. "Mom, Dad, I'm not marrying Gavin anymore." In the future, I wouldn't chase after him, getting jealous and throwing tantrums anymore. My words fell. My parents were stunned, then showed a hint of joy. "Baby, you figured it out?" I nodded solemnly. "Yes, I've already registered the marriage with Lucas." My dad's face instantly filled with joy. "You should have figured it out sooner, baby, that Gavin is nothing but a pretty face, a central air conditioner. I've disliked him for a long time." My mom shook the marriage certificate. "But baby, what about this? Tomorrow's wedding?" I looked up at my mom. Tomorrow's wedding proceeds as usual. The wedding still had to happen. The Ning family had been in business for 100 years. This reputation couldn't be ruined in my hands. After graduation, I didn't join the company. Lowering myself to chase after him for so long, getting jealous and arguing, was already embarrassing enough. After dinner, I organized the betrothal gifts sent by the Song family. Gavin attached great importance to our wedding, and the betrothal gifts were the best he had carefully selected. He was so attentive. Yet in the end, he still abandoned me for Kayla. The phone rang. I opened it to look. It was Gavin. The October night was already a bit cool. The night sky was dotted with stars, and the gentle breeze mixed with the fragrance of green plants and flowers in the courtyard was very pleasant. I opened the courtyard gate. At a glance, I saw the man standing under the street lamp, just like when we first met. Handsome face, clean and gentle temperament. After seeing me, his eyes seemed to burst with light. So good-looking. I sighed inwardly. No wonder he was the person I liked for years. "Coral, have you eaten?" I nodded. "Is there something you came over for?" Gavin glanced at my expression. "Coral, sorry about today. I broke my promise." I said lightly, "It's okay. I'm used to it." After Coral hung up, Gavin started to panic. All afternoon, he felt like he had lost something, so he wanted to come see her before flying to North America. Now looking at Coral's calm appearance, it seemed like nothing was wrong, but also like something was wrong. Thinking for a moment, Gavin said to me, "Coral, are you angry? Angry that I left you alone at the courthouse? Angry that I postponed the wedding?" See? He knew I would be angry, but he still did it. Why? Probably because I was cheap. Every time he abandoned me for his sister Kayla, I got angry, I made a fuss, but I would always forgive him because I liked him very much. Gavin knew I liked him very much. So the favored one is always fearless, but he was always stingy in giving me this favor. Seeing my increasingly cold expression, Gavin thought I was angry and breathed a sigh of relief instead. A trace of secret joy flashed in his eyes. Just angry. Explain and coax a little, and it would be fine. Gavin rubbed my hair and let go before I dodged. "Coral, Kayla's ankle injury is severe and needs treatment from specialists in North America. Moreover, time is tight. Surgery must be done within 48 hours, or there will be sequelae, so I have to accompany her there." Mockery flashed in my eyes. "Why, is there no one else in this world? Our assistants and nurses all dead. Must you be the one to accompany her? Can our family's wedding be disregarded?" Disapproval flashed in Gavin's eyes. "Coral, I only have you in my heart. Don't make a scene. I just treat her like a sister. I'm not assured leaving her alone in a foreign land. Once she's settled, I'll come back immediately. Coral, when I come back, I will definitely make it up to you with an even grander wedding." I really wanted to ask him if he knew what changing the wedding date for Kayla would do to me. But before I could ask, I was interrupted by his phone ringtone. It was Kayla, her exclusive ringtone. Because of this, Kayla had bragged in front of me. Gavin heard it and said indifferently, "Coral," she said it herself, using my phone back in high school. "Why don't you set one too? I'll know it's you as soon as I hear it." I thought at the time, that early? With Gavin, Kayla could touch his phone freely. With Gavin, Kayla had been the special one early on. In the time before I appeared, Gavin's favor was given to Kayla. I was never the only exception. I didn't set one. I didn't want what had been given to others. Thinking about it now, it seemed like I was the third party, which was a bit funny. After all, he was the person I liked for so many years. The moment I went downstairs and saw him, my heart still uncontrollably skipped a beat. "Now, huh?" Watching him answer the phone, listening to Kayla's coquettish tone on the other end. "Gavin, where did you go? The plane is about to board." Gavin comforted her softly. "Kayla, be good. Sit still and don't move. Watch your foot. I'm coming over right now." After coaxing for a while longer, he hung up and then remembered to look at me awkwardly. He looked at the time again. "I have to go, Coral. There's no time." Watching his slightly anxious appearance, I spoke. Gavin, I've already... Beep, beep, beep. The car horn interrupted my words. Gavin breathed a sigh of relief and stepped forward to hug me tightly. Coral, wait for me. Wait for me to come marry you. Then he walked away quickly. I didn't speak again. There was no later. Gavin got into the car and looked back at the girl standing alone under the street lamp. His heart suddenly throbbed with a dense pain. Then came endless panic, clamoring for him to get out, to hug her, to tell her he wasn't going to North America. Watching the figure get smaller and smaller, the word stop was about to burst out. The phone rang. It was Kayla. Gavin fell silent. The wedding was about to begin. Looking at myself in the mirror, dressed in the solemn and magnificent phoenix coronet and robes, I was slightly lost in thought. Unlike the Western wedding Gavin prepared, today's wedding was a Chinese-style wedding notified by Lucas last night. Yesterday, watching Gavin leave without looking back, I felt a moment of sadness in my heart, but more of it was relief. It was still like this. I was never his firm choice. Forget it, let it be. Just as I turned to go home, I saw the car at the corner. It drove closer, followed by a convoy. Lucas got out of the car, leading a team of people carrying things towards me. I felt a bit guilty and confused, not knowing if he had seen Gavin, and also wondering why he came. "Why are you standing outside?" The deep, magnetic voice came. Thinking he probably didn't see, I smiled. "Came down for a walk. What is this?" Hearing Lucas say he came to deliver the betrothal gifts, I didn't react for a moment. Then I heard my mom's voice. "Lucas is here. Baby, why are you standing there? Bring Lucas in." I took him in, a bit bewildered. Sitting on the sofa, watching Lucas chatting happily with my parents, I felt this world was a bit magical. The noisy sounds from outside came, bringing me back to reality. It was almost time. I walked slowly towards the door and heard the discussions outside. Who in our circle doesn't know? Kayla likes Gavin. This fuss is clearly because she doesn't want him to marry Coral. Heard Gavin followed Kayla to North America? Just a twisted ankle, and he's so nervous. Shows she's the one in his heart. Exactly. The groom is gone. They say the wedding is rescheduled. I think they want to call off the engagement. Coral isn't cutting it either. Dated for years, but lost to someone coming back and acting cute. Coral used to be a top beauty in our circle, so arrogant. To think she'd have a day like this, heh. Her reputation is ruined. How will she marry in the future? I received a call from the Song family yesterday saying today's wedding was canceled. But then the Ning family called saying the wedding is on. Confusing. What are these two families doing? Are they going to become enemies? Me too. Anyway, I cleared my schedule a week ago, came to watch the show. Listening, I actually felt what they said was right, very pertinent. The audience's eyes are sharp. As for me, Gavin wouldn't care about this. He wouldn't know how embarrassing it was for me in the eyes of others in the circle to postpone the marriage for Kayla. Time was up. When I walked out, I happened to see those people. They didn't know this was the dressing room. Seeing me come out, they awkwardly said, "Happy wedding." I smiled and replied softly, "Thank you." Really, thank you for letting me see clearly that I was just a clown. The guests didn't know the groom had changed. They all wanted to see how I would handle this situation. When they saw Lucas appearing in the groom's wedding robe, everyone was startled. Silence for a moment, then instant uproar. I heard his cool, deep voice rise, and the noise died down. Today, the people getting married have always been me, Lucas Sterling and Coral Ning. Does everyone understand? The guests around responded repeatedly, and words of congratulation were endless. The wedding went very smoothly. This date was chosen by Gavin and me, October 20th. I thought today would be our happiest day. But Gavin, today I married someone else. Glancing at Lucas beside me, I also found a good husband. After the ceremony, I went to the back to change into the toast dress. Then it was nonstop busy. My feet hurt from walking. I didn't drink much, but I felt a bit tipsy. Finally, after the banquet ended, I was almost carried back to the room by Lucas. I didn't think much, just felt so tired. I took a comfortable bath. Then I collapsed on the bed, not wanting to move. Who knew getting married was so tiring? The door opening sound rang out. I saw Lucas walk into the bathroom holding a bathrobe. I sat up instantly, forgetting there was another person in the room, and it was my new husband. Tonight was the wedding night. Thinking about it, my face turned red. When he came out of the shower, I stole a glance. Relieved, he was wrapped quite tightly. Seeing him getting closer and closer from the corner of my eye, my hands unconsciously gripped the bedsheet tightly, close enough that I could feel his warm breath on my red ears. Then I heard a light chuckle. I looked up abruptly, crashing into eyes full of mirth. My hand was also pulled away by another large, slender hand. "Don't grip it. Careful, your hand hurts." I looked away uncomfortably. Lucas stood up and walked to the other side of the bed. "Our marriage was hasty. I know you're not ready yet. Take your time. I won't go back on my word, don't worry." I nodded. Because of the matter with Gavin, my heart had been uneasy. He knew it all. For no reason, I suddenly felt aggrieved. I didn't know if I would regret marrying him so hastily in the future, but right now, I only felt reassured. Sleeping in a strange place with a man I wasn't very familiar with, I thought I wouldn't be able to sleep. Who knew I fell asleep surprisingly fast? When I woke up the next day, I nuzzled the pillow in my arms in a daze. Question mark, question mark, question mark. The texture was wrong. Reason returned. I quietly let go, peeked up, and saw a pair of awake, deep eyes looking at me with a hint of a smile. My cheeks exploded red instantly, and I sat up quickly. Sorry, I sleep poorly." Lucas raised his hand and rubbed my head. "It's okay. No need to apologize. We are husband and wife." After washing up, Lucas looked at me. Let's go see our marital home." I didn't think much and went with him. As a result, he gave me a big surprise. Our marital home was right next to my parents' house. I was very happy, weaving through the first-floor hall nonstop, wanting to see everywhere. Lucas stood by the sofa watching me with a smile. I thought letting go of Gavin would make me listless for a long time, but the truth was the liking had been worn away, slowly. After letting go, there was more wistfulness and relief. 1 week after the wedding, Gavin didn't contact me once. Still a bit disappointed. How much he cared taking care of his little sweetheart wholeheartedly. If I hadn't married Lucas, how hard this week would have been. I didn't dare think about how rampant the rumors outside would be. "Gavin, I won't wait for you anymore." But this disappointment didn't affect my mood. I smiled at Lucas walking towards me. I have someone to cherish now. This is my life. Lucas was very good to me. In my plan, he should neither reject nor like this marriage. With no rumors of him liking anyone, I used that promise. But his kindness to me gave me the illusion that he liked me. So looking at the man handling work in the study, Lucas. What is it? Did you agree to marry me to fulfill the promise, or... I wanted to ask if he liked me, but it was hard to say. Better not humiliate myself. I laughed at myself. Nothing. You go on. Maybe he was just being good to me out of respect for his wife. Better not flatter myself. I turned to leave, but was pulled into an embrace emitting a cold fragrance. A sigh came from above my head. "Coral, I thought I made it obvious enough." I was stunned, my voice trembling, unsure if it was what I thought. "What do you mean?" Lucas looked down solemnly into my eyes. "Coral, I like you. I've liked you for a long time." Because we lived close to my parents, Lucas and I often went to my mom's place to mooch meals. My dad had high attainments in piano and was also a good cook. He often bragged in front of me that he caught my mom's eye by playing the piano and captured her stomach by cooking well, thus winning the once arrogant Red Rose. I listened with envy, starry-eyed. Seeing this, Lucas whispered in my ear softly, If you like, I'll cook for you too. Looking at the teasing eyes of my parents opposite, my face instantly turned red to the ears. Who said I like it? Since Lucas confessed that day, our relationship had become much closer. It was also that day I learned he fell in love with me at first sight. I was in his heart so long ago. I had to say I was secretly delighted and showed off to my mom. My mom rolled her eyes at me. I knew long ago. After you saved him back then, he often came to our house. At first, your dad and I thought it was gratitude, but as he came more often, the look in his eyes couldn't be hidden. He also sensed we found out and confessed, saying you were still young and just started college, not enlightened yet. Wait until you're older. Your dad and I were happy to see it happen. Local, age gap a bit big, but 6 years is okay. You marry over there and be the lady of the house. No worries about in-laws or relatives. But his thoughtfulness waited until your sophomore year when you said you were with the Song family kid. Your dad and I were angry and awkward. When you announced the relationship, he came to our house once saying, since you had someone you liked, forget it and don't tell you. He wouldn't visit anymore, but gifts would continue. With such a perfect precedent, your dad and I looked down on that Song whatever. Besides a good face, what did he have? Indecisive, soft-eared, complicated family relations. If not for seeing he was somewhat considerate to you, we wouldn't have let him in. Result, just this one good point, and still, how long has it been? And he threw you to the back of his mind. Advised you so many times, like you were bewitched, wouldn't listen. The wedding, postponed just like that, for his little sweetheart. I originally came to show off. I didn't expect this backstory. No wonder my parents didn't say much when Lucas and I got the license, and they looked so familiar. But now it turned into a struggle session against me. Seeing my mom getting more and more excited and about to lose her temper, I had a brainwave. Lucas! My mom stopped talking as expected. I quickly scurried out of the room. Scanning around, no one in the hall, so I went out. Sure enough, I saw Lucas and my dad drinking tea in the pavilion in the courtyard. I walked over. I said nothing, pulling him to leave. Lucas didn't understand, but stood up following my force. He looked back at my dad. My dad waved his hand and he left with me. I held his arm. Lucas saw I was a bit down and asked softly, "Angry?" I shook my head. I didn't know what to say. He raised his hand to pull me into his embrace. Just then, an angry voice came. "What are you doing?" Turning around, I saw the travel-worn Gavin had returned, staring fixedly at Lucas's hand holding me. I didn't speak. Looking at the bloodshot veins in his eyes and the delicately standing Kayla behind him, I buried myself in Lucas's arms, not wanting to look anymore. Lucas looked at the two together, mockery flashing in his eyes. What I do is none of young Master Song's business, right? Gavin stepped forward, wanting to grab my hand, wanting to pull me out. But Lucas turned me away, avoiding him, then let go. Gavin's hands were trembling. He hurriedly blocked in front of me. "Coral, don't be afraid. I'm here." Trying his best to calm his tone. "Coral is my fiancé. President Sterling hugging my fiancé like this. Shouldn't you give me an explanation?" Looking at the man protecting me behind him, I had mixed feelings. Over the past year or so, whenever we argued because of Kayla, he also protected Kayla like this and said to me, "Coral, don't make a scene. Coral, apologize quickly. Coral, you shouldn't..." Never firmly stood on my side. Lucas's eyes narrowed slightly, his gaze becoming sharp. Young Master Song, asking me for an explanation. Shouldn't you first explain repeatedly entrusting people to take care of and defend your little sweetheart in various occasions, backing out of the marriage on the eve of the wedding, leaving your fiancé in the teeth of the storm, taking your sweetheart to North America, and now bringing her back for what? Gavin froze, turned to look at me, and took my hand. "Coral, it's not like that. There was a reason. I can explain." Lucas interrupted him, pulling my hand. "Young Master Song, respect yourself. Don't pull and push with my wife." Gavin's eyes widened, looking at him in disbelief. Your wife? Impossible. Coral is my fiancée. We were about to get married. His voice instantly became hoarse. Looking at me, his red eyes filled with hope, staring at me unmoving, lips tight, waiting for my denial. However, his expectation was not realized. I walked towards Lucas and stood beside him. I already married him. I am indeed his wife. Gavin heard what I said, stood there for a long time without saying a word, swayed, and was supported by Kayla. She said softly, Sister Coral moved on really fast. What a way to add fuel to the fire. I didn't care, couldn't be bothered to even look at her. One look from Lucas, and Kayla shut her mouth. Gavin pushed away her supporting hand. Figuring it out quickly, veins popped on his forehead. So the wedding wasn't canceled? Just changed the person? Coral Ning, how dare you marry someone else at our wedding? Looking at the person in front of me, trembling with anger, I nodded. I married? My wedding was while you were accompanying Kayla to North America. 1 week without contact. If he had contacted anyone in the country, he would have known. If he had cared about my affairs even a little, he wouldn't have waited until today to know. But he didn't. He was across the ocean taking care of his little sweetheart, worrying about her, full of sincerity. Gavin felt his heart hurt, a dense pain like a hand scratching inside until bloody. How could this be? He lost his phone upon arriving in North America. Short on time, he didn't replace it and used a local phone. He wanted to call Coral, but was always interrupted by various things. He thought Coral would definitely be very angry. So he had decided, after treating Kayla's foot, he would come back and give Coral an even grander wedding. He knew he wronged Coral this time and would treat her doubly well in the future. He wouldn't care about Kayla anymore. He had done enough for her. Giving her a sum of money would count as repaying her parents' kindness. Coral liked him so much, he couldn't let her wait any longer. Result now. Overcome by sudden anger and anxiety rushing back plus jet lag, he fainted straight away. The Song family driver should have been waiting nearby. Seeing this, he rushed over and helped him into the car with Kayla. Without looking back, I held Lucas's hand and walked home. Coral. This is the first time you took the initiative to hold my hand. Hearing his smiling, magnetic voice, I gritted my teeth with red ears. What? Can I hold it? The smile grew deeper and doting. You can, only for you to hold. Back home, I asked him about what my mom told me. Lucas nodded. I thought then, hovering in front of you for almost a year, you didn't fall for me. Seemed I really wasn't your type. I shook my head quickly. No, I just didn't dare to have presumptuous thoughts about you then. Thought you were a big shot and wouldn't like me. Lucas laughed. Not hating is good. Take it slow in the future. That day I also learned a secret. The person who saved me at the foot of the mountain when I went hiking with Gavin and Kayla was Lucas. Doing good deeds without leaving a name. After that, I heard from friends that Gavin was hospitalized and had a persistent fever. I thought I wouldn't see him again anytime soon, until the maid at home said someone had been standing outside for a long time, asking to see me. I nodded, had to make it clear eventually. Invite him in. Seeing the flushed Gavin, I knew he ran over while still having a fever, motioned for him to sit. Do you have anything to say? Gavin licked his lips dry from fever. Coral, listen to my explanation. I don't like Kayla. I took care of her solely because her parents were good to me when they were alive. Now she's the only one left. I just treat her like a sister. The one I like is you, always has been you. I sighed and poured him a glass of water. Gavin, a gentleman is judged by his actions, not his heart. You were the one who backed out of the marriage. You were the one who let me face the finger-pointing. You were the one who flew to North America with Kayla. When I argued with Kayla, you were the one who scolded me indiscriminately and made me apologize. When hiking, you were the one who didn't believe me, held Kayla, and left me behind. Like today, running over openly like this. Have you considered my situation? If Lucas was intolerant, do you know my life would be very hard? Gavin froze. Sorry, I wanted to see you. Then he spoke again. If he treats you badly, divorce him, okay? Yes, divorce. Divorce and marry me. It's the same, Coral. I thought Gavin's brain was burned confused. What are you thinking? I'm living very well now. I won't divorce. Gavin muttered, If I hadn't left, you should have been my wife. Mine. I stood up. Marriage isn't child's play. Gavin, leave. Let's just be like this. He refused. Is Lucas a good person then? You married him. We were together for so long. You don't believe me, you believe him? I looked at him. Whether I believe him or not, I won't believe you anymore. Since Kayla came back, you have never once firmly believed in me or stood by my side. Whenever there was a choice between us, I was always the one abandoned. From clothes, bags, to jewelry, to your time, your promises, to the wedding dress we designed together, the wedding, and you. Although it was past, I still felt aggrieved. My eyes turned red. Do you know? I've been ignored and left behind by you too many times. I'm even used to it. So Gavin, go. Go find Kayla, find anyone, just don't come to find me. Didn't care when he left. When Lucas came home, I told him about this. He listened quietly without much reaction. Finally, he hummed. I thought he would ask more. Seeing my confused look, he said, Coral, I know your temper. When you messaged me to register, I knew you had let him go and wouldn't choose him again. I was stunned, then laughed. Is that so? President Sterling, you're holding your documents upside down. Lucas froze for a moment, then helplessly held the documents upright and laughed with me. A few days later, when shopping for clothes with my mom, we met an auntie who pulled my mom to gossip. Heard that after Gavin recovered, he locked himself in his room and started drinking. Wouldn't open the door for anyone, until someone sent him a recording. Kayla's foot wasn't that serious at all. Kayla bribed the hospital to forge the medical records. Gavin found Kayla, and they had a big fight. He cut off all assets given to Kayla and blacklisted her in the industry. Kayla hadn't graduated from her studies abroad. Without a good diploma and being blacklisted, even food and clothing were problems now. Gavin's grandfather disliked his bad temper and poor judgment, finding it shameful. He sent him down to a subsidiary in a remote city to train, completely cutting off his thoughts of fighting for power in the future. Before he left, we met once at a banquet. I attended with Lucas. The atmosphere was busy. Lucas was occupied with socializing. I went out for some air alone. Not long after, I saw Gavin standing beside me. It was obvious he was much thinner and haggard. Coral, I'm leaving in a couple of days. I came today just to see you one more time. And safe travels. Gavin's eyes reddened, voice hoarse. I thought a lot these past few days. For so long I was terribly wrong, making you suffer so many grievances. Sorry, Coral, sorry. I nodded. N finished? Gavin pursed his lips, choking up. N. Silence for a long time. In college, we always had endless things to say. After graduation, in our rare alone time, only I had endless things to say. Now, if I didn't speak, he didn't know what to say either. Finally reached the point of speechlessness. I turned to leave, walking my own path, walking to the light at the end. I saw Lucas in a silver-gray custom suit, leaning lazily by the stairs. Hearing footsteps, he looked over. The cold, indifferent eyes instantly became gentle as water. I thought, I am still lucky. Beep. Beep. Speak. President Sterling, you asked me to come back and hook Gavin. Now I'm blacklisted and ended up like this. You can't ignore me. I just pointed you a clear path back then. You walked yourself into this state. Tone mocking. Also, don't talk nonsense in front of my wife. Otherwise, humph. After hanging up, the man turned and hugged the sleeping woman, kissing her. No more, Sleepy. The soft voice carried a trace of huskiness. The man's eyes were filled with smiles, saying gently, "Okay, sleep, baby."